Hi, welcome to Sumery P. My name's Sue and today is an exciting day. This is my 400th video that I'm sharing with the world. So thank you for everyone's support, and today I wanted to share something that I love eating. I love baking with buckwheat flour, and today I've got one that was inspired by an old recipe I saw on the New York Times, or an editor or writer called Melissa Clark. She did this buckwheat berry striped cake or tart. It looked fabulous. I've made a version of it without any wheat. She used whole wheat flour. I've got a totally gluten-free version, and I'm doing it in my 20 centimetre or 8-inch tin. So step one, we need to pop the oven on to 170 degrees C, and as usual I'll pop the Fahrenheit temperatures above. So as I said, I'm doing it in my tart tin, and I've got this ready to go. I always pop it on a tray because it's easy to get it in and out of the oven. So I've greased it or brushed it all with butter and got a little bit of baking paper just down the bottom that I've cut into a circle. That's all ready to go. This is one of the springform tart release tins. It just looks really pretty with the edging. If you don't have that, you could do it in a normal round 20 centimetre cake tin, like a springform tin. And that's just on standby to smooth the top. So I'll pop that back down. And then we need to sour some milk. I think she used buttermilk, but what I'm doing today worked fabulous for me. So I've got 1/4 cup or 60 grams of soya milk, because that's what I've got in the house, and I'm just popping white vinegar into it. You could also use apple cider vinegar, so 1 tablespoon. So mix this up, and the vinegar turns the milk into a soured milk, because it's almost like a yogurt or something like that. I haven't tried it with yogurt or sour cream. So pop that to one side. Next step, we want to grab a bowl. We're going to pop all the flours in here and all the dry ingredients and mix them together. So I'm using 70 grams of, I bumped it up a little bit. 80 grams of buckwheat flour, which is 1/2 cup. I've got ground almonds, which is 40 grams, or 1/3 cup, really packed. And I use UK Australian cup sizes. And I found it worked really well using a starch added to these two flours. I've got a tickle in my throat. So I'm using arrowroot flour or arrowroot starch, and it is 1/4 cup or 40 grams. But you could also use tapioca. I've run out of that. Cornflour, potato starch, something like that. It just balances everything out. And if you didn't like buckwheat flour, you could probably swap that out for something like, I haven't tried it with the gluten-free blend, maybe something like dura flour or what's that called? Sorghum flour. Can't speak sometimes. Okay, back to my recipe. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, because it's not a really fluffy cake. It's what's called, I think Melissa described it as a dab cake. It's really moist. I'm calling it a tart because it's not too fluffy. It's like quite thin. And 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Just a little bit of salt to balance the flavours. And that was too much. So I'm not going to put the rest of that on that teaspoon in. That's really hard to get out fine. Whisk those together so the baking powder is combined. And we'll add that later on. Pop that to one side. So in my large bowl, I'm going to cream my butter and sugar. So I've got just salted butter, because that's all I've got in the house, 115 grams. That's been sitting here at room temperature for about, I don't know, 30 minutes. So it's soft but not too squidgy. And I've got 1/2 cup of white sugar, 100 grams. Got my little handheld electric beaters. I'm just going to cream that together about 3 to 5 minutes so it's light and fluffy and it's all really smooth. That was more like 2 minutes. I think I might have exaggerated slightly. Use your eye, and if it's creamy and fluffy, then it's good. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, if you're somewhere like here in Sweden, they have vanilla sugar. You can use that instead of vanilla extract. Both work fine, but today I'm going to use the liquid. If you're using the powdered vanilla, just pop it in with your dry ingredients. And I've got 1 egg. I always like to crack it into a little ramekin first. Just ensures that if you've got any shells, it's not going to go in there. Pop that in. I always like to stop and scrape. And if you're thinking at this stage, oh no, Sue, but it looks weird, I've curdled it. It's fine, don't worry about it. Just keep going, and once you mix everything together, it'll look really good. So that didn't take very long, just a couple of short bursts. And my milk has gone all gluggy and thick now. So I'm going to pop that in. And grab your flour mix, and we're going to add just a third at a time. Just find it helps combine a little bit better. And we don't need to overmix it. You could even just do this by hand at this stage, which I might do for the last one. So the last lot of flour, I'm just going to fold that in by hand. Because you don't want to undo all that beautiful fluffy egg, butter, sugar mixture that we made first off. So I've got this quite dense batter. Once you can't see any more flour bits and it's all combined, then it's good to pop into the tin. I do like to clean as I go. I just realised I hadn't got my sugar and my berries out to pop on top. So make sure you've got them out. So grab your bowl and just scoop everything out. And it will be, as you can see here, it's quite a thick batter. It's not fluffy and light. Smooth it over. So I've got a fairly even surface. Time to start doing the berries. In Melissa's cake, she had strawberries down the centre. Strawberries at the moment are about €8 a punnet, or 85 krona or sek. So they're a bit too expensive. So I'm going to do raspberries and blueberries. So start in the centre. I'm going to try and do about 7 to 8 rows if I can manage it. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfect because it will still taste fabulous. How pretty does that look? And now she used raw sugar. I've got just white sugar, so I'm just going to do a little sprinkling of the white sugar on top. I just popped it in the oven, but I forgot to record it. So I'm going to bake this for 25 minutes till it's golden brown, and I'm going to check it with a skewer just to make sure it's done in the centre. If not, I might pop it back in for 5 minutes. So 25 to 30 minutes, and it should be great. I just got my tart out of the oven, and I've checked the centre. The skewer comes out clean, but what I need to do is I need to let it completely cool in the tin before we try and release it and do a taste test. So I reckon maybe an hour to an hour and a half should be good. I think it will be not completely cool, but good enough to show you the next step. So back with my berry tart. It's been about an hour, and look how fabulous that looks. If you look really closely, my berries have sunk a bit, but look, I'm not going to worry about refilming and doing it perfect because I believe that it doesn't really matter. The flavour's still going to taste fantastic. So I'm just going to cut into a piece to show you. So have a look at that. You've got some of the berries coming through, and it's a nice dense kind of cake. Now you can serve this with cream, cream fresh, natural yogurt, vanilla ice cream, or just by itself. It's such a light cake. I love the flavour, the vanilla flavour with the almonds, and the buckwheat is really subtle. The buckwheat doesn't overpower this cake, which I really love. And the freshness and juiciness of the berries is delicious. Now you can dust it with icing sugar to serve it if you'd like. You can try different types of fruits. I think it's a really good gluten-free base to experiment and do other things. You could probably even add some orange zest or lemon zest or some spices to it. Yum. This is such a light cake for summer or just any time of year, because I know many of my viewers, it's not summertime. We're enjoying the sunshine here in Sweden. So give my new buckwheat berry cake or berry tart a try and let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching and supporting me, and I'm excited to share this 400th video with you. Thanks for watching. Oh, stick around. I'll pop a few other buckwheat and gluten-free ideas up above. I'll see you next time. Bye. Yum, yum, yum. Buckwheat berry cake. Buckwheat berry cake. Buckwheat berry tart. Yum.